Sometimes all something needs to resonate with you on a deep personal level is what the millennials call the aesthetics. I know that the idea of appreciating something's beauty above all else is nothing new. People love 2001: A Space Odyssey after all, but its current meaning in the cultural zeitgeist is very specific. Pastel colours, a touch of impressionism and surrealism, and the most important aspect is spelling things like this. And of course, vaporwave. But people have different aesthetic sensibilities, and today I'm going to talk about what my aesthetic is, and it's this game here, Hyperlight Drifter. Hyperlight Drifter and I have a strange relationship. It's truly one of my favourite games of all time for reasons I'm going to get into, but it's hard to talk about why when I've only played maybe 3 hours of it. I know that might make me sound like a fake gamer girl who couldn't beat the game because it's just too hard, and yet it is pretty difficult. I think I only got maybe halfway through. I say I think because I didn't look up a walkthrough or any Let's Plays, because I wanted the game to stay a mystery. I didn't even get stuck and quit playing as I imagine many might have because, you see, I'm actually good at the video games. Me and the game, we drifted apart. Got him. I got the game back in 2016 when it launched. I just started university and was given millions of free pounds from the government. I was having a blast. I had money, the freedom of city life that my countryside upbringing had never given me. I had my whole life ahead of me, so I bought a bunch of cool games. One of these cool games was Hyperlight Drifter. Now, my laptop was garbage, so I only bought indie games that I was 85% sure I could run. And after a few reviews, I'd seen that some people complained about frame issues when the game got a bit too hectic. So I was sure this game would burn my laptop, my room, the tower that I lived in, and indeed all of Liverpool to the ground. But I bought it anyway, and for maybe 2 hours, I was completely engrossed. Not many games grip me in the way that Hyperlight did. I was no stranger to pixel art or tough, no-nonsense combat, but I was still blown away by the visuals, the gameplay, and most of all, the sound design. Disasterpeace has become one of the most prolific ambient composers working today, and to hear why, just listen to literally anything he's ever made. Hyperlight draws inspiration from the original Zelda, and it's easy to see because the game is obtuse to a sometimes frustrating degree. There's no dialogue, instead you're told what's happening by pictures, like all these cutesy alien animal people communicate in a transcendent medium, able to convey shapes, colours, scale, and power without words. Kinda like the alien fellas from Arrival, but not quite as fuckable. See, I'm a bit of a musician myself. Here's a picture of me with a keyboard, and sometimes when I press these buttons, sounds come out, so clearly I know my stuff. I can listen to the soundtrack and look at the score, and see where Disasterpeace chose to add colour tones, what kinds of harmonic progression, if any, he used. How his chord voicings couple with the instrumentation to make, like, that noise that he does. But when you put this alongside the exploration, the sights, the utter majesty of some of the imagery involved, you don't care about any of that. His use of non-functional harmony leaves the music, and by extension the player, without a sense of home. Both the soundscape and the character are wanderers. So, why did I stop playing? And why the flipping heck haven't I gone back? So you know how you can play a game for like 20 hours, Dragon Age say, then step away for a week or two, come back and suddenly you've forgotten literally everything. Well, that happened, but instead of several years worth of exposition and character motivation to forget, there was some vague ideas about what I was doing that just slipped away. And of course, the mechanical factor, which is a subtle way of saying I was shit and died a lot because I was shit. So I put it down. and I played more Final Fantasy XIV. But anyway, time went on, my life changed, I changed, but the game sat there in my Steam library. I wanted to play it more, but setting up the DualShock 4 to work with the laptop was tedious, and I was busy using the controller to kill more goblins.
Yes, they must die, 5 of them to be exact. I must kill 5 of the goblins and get the sword that is many, many times worse than the sword I already hold. To kill the goblins, please help me.
But despite my time away, I never forgot how Hyper Light Drifter made me feel, or how it captured frenetic, high-octane, Devil May Cry-esque sword and gun combos in a 2D pixely dream world of colour. Then it came out on PS4, and I was like, hell yes, okay. So I bought it and I started again, got to roughly the same point, and the exact same thing happened again. Every time I tried to go back, I just got stuck. I couldn't figure out where I was going or what I was doing. Although there are visual cues on the map as to which of these little sticks you've pressed into the ground, none of it made sense to me. I could no longer read the map. And yeah, you can just head back to the village and set off somewhere else in a different direction. But I didn't do that because I'm an idiot. But regardless of what's going on with me, whenever I decide to play the game, it's like it understands. The atmospheric chords and the ambient sounds, the neon hues and crystal glaciers all just get me. It's difficult to put into words, but what I find truly amazing, even sad to a degree, is that the game's lead developer Alex Preston uses his art to tell stories about his life and his struggles with disease. He has a congenital heart problem that has hospitalised him several times over his life, and the main character, the Wanderer, suffers from a similar unpredictable ailment himself. You start the game and he's like, "Bleh," and then you have to go to your mum's room at 3 AM and tell her you were sick on your pillow and it's a school night. Jokes aside, and remember I don't fully know the story of this game because I haven't finished it, you encounter this dog that's very reminiscent of depictions of Anubis, the Egyptian lord of the dead, which I learned about from Yu-Gi-Oh! And he causes this condition to manifest in the Drifter, or at least flare up. Alex and the Wanderer both live their lives with the knowledge that something is out to get them. It's in the back of their mind and quite literally a part of their body. I don't know if Alex has grown to stop fearing his condition, but it no doubt still affects his day-to-day life. He lives with a reminder of his mortality. On the flip side, I live with a game that's constantly in the back of my mind. It's always there in the library, waiting to be played and hopefully someday finished. And as I continue to grow and change, the game will too. But I get to anticipate my return to its retro-tinged world with joy. There's a parallel there, and I hope it doesn't come across as me trying to play down his condition. I have nothing but respect and sympathy for Alex, and I want to thank him sincerely for what him and his team have made. In conclusion, I guess, and bear in mind I'm not reading from my script anymore, there will always be unquantifiable means through which we enjoy art. And that's fine, because I'm going to get smarter, and I'm going to get better at video games, and I'm going to finish Hyper Light Drifter, and maybe then I'll make another video that's a full review. But until then, I'll probably just play more Final Fantasy XIV.